Thought you're showing me up. Hey guys, how's it going? Hope everything's going well. Remember, if you liked my video, smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and share this on social media as well. Alright, so I wanted to get into this topic of SGC and how they just raised prices just like PSA did the other day. So here's the thing. SGC, cleared their backlog, I think it was a month ago. So they were good to go. And they were kind of trolling PSA without naming their name that, oh, we don't have a backlog. And then, they just made a fool out of themselves where, PSA basically said we're not accepting orders and everyone went to SGC because Beckett, I have no idea what on earth they're doing right now. I don't know anyone using Beckett. Some of the old cards, sure, you could sell those old cards if you have them in hand, but, I still don't know anyone that uses Beckett unless they're, like, really old and love Beckett from the beginning. But, here's the thing. SGC raised prices, and not many people are going to use SGC now. That was probably the purpose, because the resale value of SGC cards, for the most part, they're not that high unless you have, like, some nice vintage cards from the past, or if you have maybe some Tom Brady rookie cards or maybe Jordan rookies. So I don't see the point of using SGC at these prices. I only have graded one card, and that was the Federer 2001 card that I showed in a different video. I said that was my first SGC submission, and it was a cool card. It was maybe $100 to grade, but it was worth it because there's not many cards graded. And I think it was the highest graded card out there, SGC 7. I'm still disappointed though. Anyways, in terms of, SGC versus PSA and the other grading companies, they're eventually going to get a hold of their backlogs. BGS probably will get a hold of the backlog probably by the time this bubble bursts. But SGC, PSA, they're most likely going to get their act together in the next few months. And I'm glad they're not accepting orders. So what does this mean for the cards that you have right now? If you have cards where there's a whole bunch of supply, and there's supply at PSA and SGC and BGS, this is probably a good time, in my opinion, to sell. I'm not telling you to do that, but this is just, what I'm thinking. And also, for some of the cards, like the Usain Bolt card that I have, I have a BGS 9. There's not that much sales of these cards out there in higher grades. And, some of these cards that may appear to be scarce are probably not scarce, because I've seen so many auctions lately of these Usain Bolt cards. So that's something to look out for. So just because you think a card is scarce doesn't mean that maybe you should hoard it. And this is just me speaking out loud. I'm not telling you what to do again. And this is probably the time, this sell a high grade Usain Bolt card, or if you have any other card that is scarce and you see all these raw cards coming out into the marketplace on eBay. The other thing that I noticed with SGC and PSA is that even though they shut everything down, they have so many cards right now because of all this demand. So they're going to be printing money like crazy. So are they going to lose in the long run because of this? No, I don't think so. I think the people that are going to be losing out in the long run are the flippers. Flippers are very short-term thinkers. And it worked all of last year. It's working part of this year. And it's going to be much harder right now. And I told you about another video. I was talking about cards being fragile. Not cards, but markets, systems. And I labeled it fragile versus anti-fragile based on Nassim Taleb's system of classifying complex, systems, companies, etc., financial markets. And just from this observation, I believe that the flippers are very fragile right now. That they have been, number one, dependent on PSA and SGC to give them product. It is mainly PSA to give them product that was, first of all, very cheap a few years ago. You know, I paid $20 in 2019, got my cards right away. And right now, there's so many people thinking that, hey, I could flip this raw card because that's what everyone was doing at home last year. But ultimately, when everyone's doing it, it's really hard to make money unless you have a Grail card or unless you have a PSA 10 and that card is scarce. So the flipping game is probably over. And if you have a scarce card, you know, that's where you're probably going to make the money, and assuming that it's in a high grade. So the way that I look at it is, over the next few months, some people will definitely adapt and will still find ways to beat the system and make money flipping. But many people are probably going to have a hard time. And for any existing cards that are high grade and scarce as of this moment, you know, probably time to take profits. And what do you guys think about this? Do you think that the flipping game is over, at least for this bull market? Like I said, I think this market is going to correct and crash hard in the next few years. And obviously, when there's a crash, there's always an opportunity. I think those opportunities, you know, we could start thinking about aggressive flipping again. But the way that I see it right now is people are just aggressively going in on eBay, using their stimulus checks, using any of the profits they had from other cards, and saying, hey, NBA playoffs are coming, I better get like a James Harden card. Put in, you know, $100,000 for 4 or 5 cards. And sure, if they make the NBA finals and you flip it right before, you're probably going to make money. But it depends on whether or not you get the right guy. And that's a market that I don't want to be aggressively playing. I want to be flipping. This is for me. I'm not telling you what to do. I want to be flipping the stock market. You know, I use options with high deltas, and I don't have to worry about, you know, delivery or whatnot. So I look at some of the CBOE options. I don't want to get too much into it, but like the XSP, you know, it's a cash delivery option for those that are familiar with options and high deltas. And, you know, I could put $500, $600 down with volatility low, and I could basically control $40,000. It's insane what I could do with that. But that's a, you know, strategy that I learned a few years ago. And, you know, the S&P has gone up, what, not even 100% since the lows of last year. And if you look at some of these cards, you know, I have cards, you know, I bought at maybe $20 in the summer of last year, like a Khabib rookie. And people actually found out about, oh, it's so darn cheap. It's like $600, $700, a blue refractor, 2013. It, what, went up 20-fold, and it's not even a year. I have the same Bold card like I told you. It probably went up 20-fold. You know, $50, $60 card. At least worth $1,200. I'm going to probably send to Propstein and I'll find out the final valuation of it. But stuff like that, when I see cards go up crazily like that, even though, you know, they're printing money, it makes sense. You know, I'm looking at, okay, everyone's trying to flip. Everyone thinks it's easy money. It's not easy money. And, you know, I had a friend tell me that, hey, you know, stock market's, you know, kind of overpriced. And I'm like, it is, but compared to cards, I feel cards are way too overpriced. And don't get me wrong, I'm still buying some cards. Today I bought some Zach Wilson cards from ProSet. And who owns ProSet? It's actually Leaf Trading Cards. Leaf Trading Cards bought the brand, I think it was last year or maybe earlier this year. And, you know, Zach Wilson, I believe, is going to be one of the top quarterbacks from this draft. You know, everyone's talking about Trevor Lawrence. Now I look at Chris Sims' analysis, and he thinks that Zach Wilson edges out Trevor Lawrence. And I trust Chris Sims' analysis of quarterbacks because he was a quarterback and his dad was a 2-time Super Bowl champ and a great analyst as well. So, I just put in, $160 for my stimulus check in Zach Wilson. So I'm still speculating, but, I'm not throwing the kitchen sink. I'm not putting $100,000, which I don't have, and, some hardened cards. I think that's gambling. And I hope people make money that way, but that's not in my risk tolerance to do that. I want to be selling right now. And I aggressively look at, the stock market on a day-to-day basis. I look at options. I get in and out, every 2-3 days. So that's my aggressive flipping. Some of your guys' aggressive flipping and some of the other YouTubers is, buy card and sell it in a month or two. And I get it, I'm not going to hate on someone. It's just not my risk tolerance because it's just gone up way too much. And like I've said before, the S&P usually goes up about, 10 to 15% a year. Or the last, 100 years or so, it's gone up, 7 to 10%. And, when you see card go up 2,000% in a year, multiple cards, that means that there's going to be a heavy correction. There's a mean reversion, meaning prices are going to come back to earth. And what I want to do is, before the economy starts opening up, back up, sell some of these cards and go into the S&P. And I'll buy some raw cards, like I told you with Zach Wilson. And I may look at some Leaf trading cards, with some of these quarterbacks, if they have some more on their website in the coming days. But, that's what I'm looking at. Anyways, guys, what do you think? Do you think, going back to SGC, do you think that they're doing the right thing in raising their prices? And how is this affecting you? Are you going to be selling less? Are you going to be selling your cards like I'm thinking about doing? Let me know. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. I'll talk to you later. Bye.